What's up? I'm Dylan D, and welcome to my 300 subscriber special, the Nightmare Express tutorial. By far, one of my most treasured machines, with a one-way variable speed engine. This is a very advanced slime block mech, so I just warn everyone, please, build at your own risk. But of course, thank you all so much for your support and the amazing feedback so far along the way. We are really starting to pick up speed. So far, it's almost been back-to-back subscriber specials with no breaks in between. Trust me when I say, the best has yet to come. The Weaponize It for the Nightmare Express will be the next video I put out, so I really hope everyone subscribes for that. And I also want to thank everyone for the amazing response to War of the Machines. There will definitely be more absolutely insane battles in the near future. And lastly, the subscriber goal calendar tutorial list is as follows, and of course is also in the description along with the materials and the dimensions of the build. Right now, about 75% of the people watching and liking my videos are unsubscribed. Just imagine if they did subscribe. We would have all of these specials and even more. So of course, be sure to subscribe and share with your friends. But with all of that being said, let's dream up a tutorial. Alright, so my inventories are ready to go, and I have chosen a spot to start building. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is show you guys where that is. So for anybody that missed it in the intro, from this slab to this slab over here is 13 blocks. Now, I encourage anyone who is building the Nightmare Express to build in some sort of tracks first, just because it adds, of course, to the overall build of the machine. But of course, you can do whatever you wish. But starting out, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to come in from 1, 2, 3 rails in, and I'm actually going to go ahead and come in from this area, this stairs, 1, 2, 3, and then come back with 1 temporary block. So you should be looking at something that looks exactly like this. Now, next up, what I'm going to go ahead and do is come off of it with 1, 2, 3 more temporary blocks. So you should be looking at 4 temporary blocks total when you add a redstone block to the top. Then you can go ahead and get rid of those 4 temporary blocks, and we're ready to start. So the Nightmare Express will be, of course, facing that direction, always towards the village. And so knowing that, we're going to go ahead and put a slime block here and then a redstone block just like so. Then we're going to add a slime block to the top of that first slime block. Then we're going to go ahead and add an immovable block here so we can place a sticky piston right there. Next up, what we're going to go ahead and do is grab our pistons and place one just like so. Then we're going to come around to the inside here, and we're going to add in a regular block. And then we're going to grab 2 slime blocks and place them in just like so. We're going to grab our sticky pistons again, and we're going to go ahead and just place them just like this. Next up, we're going to go ahead and grab our pistons and place one just like the other one over here, so we have another caterpillar engine started. Immovable block here, redstone block there. Next up, what we're going to go ahead and do is add in 2 slime blocks to the front of that redstone block. Then we want a piston here. We want 2 regular blocks of choice, just like so. Next up, we want a piston right here, facing this direction off of that slime block. Next up, we can go ahead and actually just throw in a piece of sand, just like so. Then we want a piston right here. Next up, I'm going to go back this direction to the back of this piece of sand, and I'm going to add in a sticky piston, a slime block, and then I'm going to come back this direction with a regular piston. So you should be looking at something that looks exactly like this. But of course, this caterpillar engine comes up this direction with a redstone block here, and then another redstone block just like so. So next up, once you have this full piece, what you can go ahead and do is add in a regular block right here, and then we're going to want another slime block just like so. And then we can actually place, look down to this slime block, and then place a regular block of choice, and then we can actually come up from it with 2 more slime blocks so it connects to that one. So you should be looking at something that looks exactly like this. When we grab our sticky pistons, we're going to come off of this slime block just like so with that sticky piston, and then we're going to come back with our regular pistons, remove those 2 if you used them as temporary, and then place it just like this. Then we want a redstone block just like so. So you should be looking at something that looks exactly like this so far. Next up, I'm going to come back to our original sticky piston that we placed, and then we're going to go ahead and place 1 slime block coming out from it, regular block, and then another slime block. We're going to drop to the bottom of there, place a piston just like this. Next up, we're going to go ahead and place in 2 fence posts so it looks exactly like this. Now, your boat will go right here. The only reason I'm not placing my boat right away is because I don't want to, of course, bump into it all the time and have to keep replacing it. So knowing that, what I'm going to go ahead and do is grab a regular block of choice, place it right here, and I'm going to go ahead and place a piston right in front of it. You should be looking at something that looks exactly like this when we go around this direction to this this regular piston here. We're going to place a sticky piston coming off of it with a slime block, and of course, yes, this will turn into another caterpillar engine. We're going to go ahead and place a redstone block just right here, and then a regular block to each side. Now, of course, this is the engine that will propel the entire machine forward when you put it into the kamikaze mode, or the fast speed mode if you wish, you know, to not make it blow up on impact or anything like that. But knowing all of that, what we're going to go ahead and do is put in our actual speed trigger. We're going to put a temporary block right here and then a redstone block, and then we can remove that temporary block. Next up, what we're going to go ahead and do is come off of that redstone block with 2 slime blocks just like so. Then we're going to add in a sticky piston just like this. Next up, we want a redstone block on top of that sticky piston. Then we want to come back with a regular block right here. Next up, we want to go ahead and add in slime blocks just like so, so 2 just to the side, just like that, with a redstone block here. Then we're actually going to go ahead and add in the slime block right here to the side of that engine, and then a piston. So you should be looking at something that looks exactly like this. Now, of course, this is the trigger, and we're going to want to add more machine, of course, to the build. So we're going to go ahead and just add a redstone block here, and then one right there for the future. Now, as soon as you have all this, we're going to come back to this piston right here, and we're going to come out from it with 2 slime blocks, and then a redstone block just like so, and then we're going to go ahead and grab our glass and place 2 in just like this. Now, this glass, of course, over here is to help you see out of the front. Now, if you, of course, will weaponize it in the future, then it will be a little difficult to see out the front, but that's all right. Knowing all this, as soon as you add in a piston right here, you are ready to move forward. Alright, so next up I'm going to go ahead and come to this side of the machine, and I'm going to go ahead and come off of this piston with the slime block just like so, and then 2 more slime blocks just like this. Then I want a redstone block right here. I'm going to go back to my slime blocks and come out 1, 2, 3 more slime blocks off the bottom here. 1 slime block here, and a redstone block just like so. So you should be looking at something that looks exactly like this. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and grab my sticky pistons, and I'm going to go ahead and place all 4 that I need for the back of the machine right here, which will be 2 right here, which is 1 on top of that redstone block, and then 1 to the side of this one. And then we're going to go ahead and come over to this side. We're actually going to put down a redstone block, or a sticky piston on that redstone block, and then a sticky piston on this one. Now, all of those sticky pistons, of course, are facing backwards. Now, once you know that, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to come back to this side. We're actually going to go ahead and add in our door with our fence gates, and we're going to go ahead and just place in 2 fence gates just like this. Now, next up, we're going to go ahead and do, the only reason why I don't add anything to here is because this slime block in fast mode then picks up another block because the engine itself actually switches directions. So this slime block picks up another piston for the ride later on along the way. So we're not going to add anything else to here, but no worries. What we're going to go ahead and do is come off of this bottom sticky piston here with 1, 2, 3 slime blocks and then a redstone block just like so. Next up, we're going to go ahead and grab our regular pistons, and we're going to put in a regular piston here with a slime block here, and then a slime block to the outside with a redstone block coming off of that slime block. Next up, we're going to go ahead and just place in a regular block here and then a regular block right there. Then what we want to go ahead and do is we just can place a regular block here and then one just like so. So now, as you can see, we actually have our full-on little door area. Next up, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to place a regular block of choice just behind that piston, and then 2 more regular blocks just like so. Then we want to go ahead and add in a sticky piston right here. But we're going to go ahead and go over to this sticky piston because this side looks a little different. We're going to come off of it with 2 slime blocks. We're going to drop to the bottom, and we're going to go ahead and add in 1, 2, 3 slime blocks just like so with a redstone block on the end. So of course, as you can tell, it lines up with the other side. Next up, I'm going to grab my sticky pistons, place 1 in just like so, so it should look exactly like the other side. Then I'm going to go ahead and grab my regular blocks. I'm going to place 1 right here, and then I want to grab a piston, and I want to place it right here, which is coming off of the side this time, with this slime block right here coming off the side of that sticky piston, slime block to the bottom, and a redstone block just like so. Then we want to go ahead and add a slime block to the top, and then we want to grab our regular blocks of choice and add 2 to the bottom, so there's 4 blocks total on the bottom, and then 2 here, so there's 3 blocks total here. Then we want 1 block here, and then 2 on the top, so you should be looking at this kind of musical note look. Next up, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're actually going to go ahead and add in regular blocks all the way up to here, just so this whole area is filled with regular blocks. Now, I know it looks different on the other side, but of course that just has to do with block pushes and pulls and etc. So knowing that, we're going to go ahead and just leave this kind of area open, and we're going to go ahead and drop back this way to this sticky piston where we want a slime block here, and then another slime block just like so. Then we're going to go ahead and grab our regular blocks, and we want 2 across the back, and then 1, 2, 3 coming off of this side slime block just like so. Next up, we're going to grab our regular pistons, and we want 1 directly right here, and then we actually want 1 directly underneath this slime block as well. That's just setting up for later. But of course, what we're going to go ahead and do is coming off of this top piston, it's going to be facing into this slime block with the slime block to the middle, and a redstone block just like so. Now coming back out to this direction, I'm going to go ahead and just add in a regular block of choice here, and then one right there, and then I'm going to grab my glowstone and place one just like that. So you should be looking at something that looks exactly like this when we go ahead and come over to this other side. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do is come off of this sticky piston with a slime block, another slime block here, and then we're going to go ahead and place in 2 regular blocks. Then we want 1, 2, 3 regular blocks coming off the side of this slime block. Then we want a piston right here off the top of that first initial slime block that this sticky piston is touching. Then we want a slime block here, slime block to the outside, and a redstone block just like so. So then as soon as you have this, we can grab our regular blocks, place one here, and then one right here on top of that redstone block. And then you want to go ahead and just place in a glowstone just like that. So once you have this, you should be looking at something that looks exactly like this, with the door on one side and then the kind of plating on the other side, kind of armor plating, which is of course just made out of a weak clay, but that's alright. Next up, what I'm going to go ahead and do is add in the top sticky pistons, but of course let you guys catch up. And of course, I'm sure some of you caught it, this piston right here also needs to be mirrored to this side, so it should look exactly like that, and now we're ready to move forward. Alright, so once you have all that, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to come off of this sticky piston right here with 1, 2, 3 slime blocks, or 4 slime blocks, just like so. Then we're going to go ahead and grab a piston, place it here, then we want a regular block here, then we want to go ahead and grab our slime blocks again, place it right there with the redstone block, just like so. So then once you have this, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to place a block of choice here, and then we also want a block of choice here, and then one right there next to it. So you should be looking at something that looks exactly like this. When we come back to the front, and we're going to go ahead and actually place down 2 slime blocks, exactly like so. Then we want 1 slime block on top with the redstone block up here. Then we want to go ahead and grab our glowstones and place one just like so. Next up, we can actually go ahead and place a piston right here, and then 2 regular blocks of choice coming off the top, just like so. So then once you have this, we're actually going to go ahead and grab our glowstone again, and we're going to place one just right here. Now, once you have this overall look, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to come in with our sticky pistons. We're going to place one just right here, so it comes back just like so. Then we want a slime block just right here, and then we actually want to come out this way and then out one with our slime block, so it looks exactly like this. And then coming off of that bottom regular block, you want 2 more slime blocks so it all meets together. So then as soon as you have this, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to place in a piston right there on top of that initial slime block. Then we're going to go ahead and place 2 more slime blocks like so with a redstone block just like this. So you should be looking at this overall look when we come back down this direction with our regular blocks. And we want to place in 2 just like so, and then 1 in that little alcove. So you should have this overall look all together. Next up, what we're going to go ahead and do though is we're going to come off of this redstone block with a sticky piston, so it extends backwards. Then we want a slime block here, and then we want 2 more underneath it, and then 1 slime block to the inside, just like so. Next up, we can actually go ahead and grab our regular blocks. We want to place 2 right here, 1 right there, and then we want 1 right here, and then 2 more on this side, just like so. So you should be looking at this when we go ahead and grab our pistons. We want to place a piston right there on top of that regular block. Then we want a slime block here with another slime block there with another slime block here. So you have this 3 pattern. Then you can go ahead and place your redstone block on top of it. Then with another regular block here, and then right there. As soon as you have this, you actually are ready to mirror everything we just did coming out of this sticky piston right here. And I'll actually go ahead and do that for you really fast. And once you've mirrored all that, you should be looking at something that looks exactly like this, of course with this block and this block being perfectly in the middle of the overall build. So of course, once you have all this, we are ready to move forward. Next up, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to come into this piston over here, and we're going to come out from it with 1 slime block, and we're going to come to the side with another. Then we want a redstone block, just like so, and then we want to drop underneath this slime block with the piston, so it looks exactly the same on this side as it does on this side with a piston, if that makes sense, so it's more symmetrical. Next up, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to actually add in the wheels. So starting at this piston right here, of course you can see everything that I will be doing on this piston. You guys can just go ahead and start mirroring onto this side, and of course I will stop to mirror it for you when we get there. So first up, what we want to do is come off of this piston with a slime block just like so, so it should be attached to the bottom of this sticky piston. Then we want a slime block here, here, and then one out to the side with a redstone block just like so. Then once you have this overall look, what we're going to go ahead and do is drop 2 right here and add in a piston, so it's 1 back on that slime block just like this. Next up, we're going to come off of it with a regular block, so it looks just like this. We're going to grab our slime blocks and then put 3 in, so it looks exactly like this. Redstone block here should ready this up for our first wheel. We want a piston here, and then we want a piston directly underneath the slime block, so you should be looking at something that looks exactly like this. And what we're going to do next is we're actually going to come come off of each piston with a slime block. Then we want to go ahead and connect this kind of line of slime blocks, these three pattern, to both the top and bottom piston. So you should be looking at something that looks exactly like this when you come in this way with a slime block and then a redstone block. And once again, this is what you should be looking like. This redstone block will of course power this piston, and then this redstone block will of course power that piston. So next up, what we're going to go ahead and do is grab our glowstone, and then we're going to place one here, and then we're going to actually grab a redstone block that is completely for show. Of course, just to have this here, just to have that there to make it look, nice. So knowing that, what we're going to go ahead and do is grab our cobblestone stairs, or whatever stair of choice you've chosen. I'm going to place one here, and then I'm going to place another one right there, and then I'm going to go ahead and place one here, and then one right there. Next up, I'm going to go ahead to this side and just place one right in front of each of the redstone blocks, one there, and then one upside down, one there. Very important though, do not place any right here. So as soon as you have this, all this look here, I'll go ahead and pan around it so you can see it very well. Next up, as soon as you have this, you can actually go ahead and mirror it to the other side, and I will go ahead and do that for you real fast. Then you should be looking at something that looks exactly like this. Then we're going to go ahead and come back to this piston here. We're going to come off of it with one slime block like so. We're going to add a redstone block to the top. Then we want to go ahead and swoop down to the bottom, add a slime block just like so. Then we want one right here, and then we want to come out with two more slime blocks, so you should be looking at something that looks exactly like this. Next up, we're going to grab our pistons. We're going to place one here. Then we want one right here, and then we want to go ahead and place one right underneath that slime block just as well. Next up, you can, of course, guess that there will be another wheel here, so we want to go ahead and just add that in with our little shape that we started over here. And we're going to go ahead and come off of this with the same shape, this top piston here with the same shape. So you should be looking at something that looks exactly like this. And then we're going to go ahead and come in this way and power this piston down here first with a redstone block just right there. Next up, we're going to go ahead and place a redstone block right here, so then this one will be powered when it moves forward, and then a redstone block for show on the bottom. Next up, we can actually go ahead and add in a glowstone right here, so you should be looking at this overall shape so far. Next up, we can go ahead and grab our cobblestone stairs and place one here, here, one upside down there, and then another upside down one right here, so you should be looking at this. Next up, we're going to go ahead and come in this way with another cobblestone steps here, there, and then one right here. Now it's very, very important that you do not place any cobblestone steps right here, because like I was saying before, this slime block actually moves forward and ends up grabbing this piston at one point in time and then taking over the overall I guess job of this piston. So just keep that in mind. No cobblestone steps there, but then of course as soon as you have all of this right here, I'll go over right here again so you can see it, then you can actually go ahead and mirror all of that coming out of this piston, and I'll go ahead and do that for you real fast. Now you should be looking at something that looks exactly like this when we come back to this piston right here. What we're going to go ahead and do is come out from it with one slime block and then two more, so you have three total. We're going to go ahead and add a redstone block here. Then we want to go ahead and come out from the inside, or outside, or yes, on the inside of the machine here. 1, 2, 3 slime blocks. Then we want to go ahead and just add in two more like this, so you should be looking at this overall look here. Next up, we're going to go ahead and grab our pistons, and we want one here. Then we want one right underneath, of course, for our wheel. Then to set up the front tires, we want to go ahead and just place a piston right here. Next up, we're going to go ahead and come off of both of these pistons with our slime block, and of course add in our little shape for the tires, like how we were doing for the last 4 that we've done. Next up, we're going to go ahead and place in a redstone block here to power this piston. Next up, what we're going to go ahead and do is place a slime block here, and then a redstone block right here, so of course this piston will be powered when it moves forward. Next up, we're going to go ahead and add in a redstone block here. Of course, that is just for show. Next up, a glowstone here. Then we want to go ahead and just add in an upside down stairs here, there, then right side up one there, and then of course just mirror that to this side. And of course, nothing fancy on this one. You can actually go ahead and fill in all of the cobblestone steps. So you should be looking at something that looks exactly like this when you go ahead and mirror it coming out of this piston here. And I'll go ahead and do that for you guys really fast. And now you should be looking at something that looks exactly like this when we come back to this piston. We're going to go ahead and grab our slime blocks, come off of it like so. Then we want one slime block to the side, redstone block just like this. Then we want a slime block here, here, in here. You should be looking at this kind of odd shape. Next up, what we're going to go ahead and do is add in 1, 2, 3 regular block of choice just in that corner. Next up, we're going to go ahead and add in a piston right here. Then on top of that piston, we're going to go ahead and place in stairs kind of facing this direction. Next up, what we want to go ahead and do is add in a cobblestone block right here on the side of this piston. Then we want to go ahead and add in 3 slime blocks so it looks exactly like this. Next up, we're going to go ahead and just add in a redstone block to the little side there, just like so. Then to even it up, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing to the bottom. Next up, we can actually go ahead back to our cobblestone steps, add one here, right side up, and then one right there, upside down. So you should be looking at something that looks exactly like this. Next up, we're going to go ahead and grab our pistons, and we're going to come back to this area, add a piston in here. Then we're going to come off of this piston with a slime block just like so. Slime block this way with a redstone block, so it should look exactly like this. Next up, we want a piston here, so we can actually go ahead and add in the same thing that we did back here, but of course we want to go ahead and add in a slime block right here, and then our 3 regular blocks, 1, 2, 3, so it should look exactly like this. Then we can grab our staircase, place it right here, so it should look exactly like that. Next up, we're going to go ahead and place our cobblestone block right here, and then we're going to add in those 3 slime blocks, just like so, so it should look exactly like this. When we grab our redstone blocks, place one here. We could go ahead and place one right there as well. Then we can go ahead and back to our cobblestone steps, place one here, upside down, and then one right there, right side up. So you should be looking at something that looks exactly like this. Next up, we're going to go ahead and go back to our pistons. We're going to go ahead and add one right there, so it looks exactly like the one behind it. And we're going to go ahead and come off of it again with the slime block, so it looks like this. Slime block here, and then a redstone block, just like so. Then we're going to go ahead and add that slime block in here, but instead of our regular blocks of choice, we're just going to add a piston. Next up, we're going to go ahead and come off of this area right here with the piston again. Then, of course, we want our cobblestone steps facing this direction. Next up, we're going to go ahead and add in that cobblestone block. Should look exactly like this. Then we're going to come off of it with our 3 slime blocks, so it should look like this. When we grab our redstone blocks, place one here. Then we want to place one right there. Just, of course, the bottom one is for show. Then we can go ahead and place in an upside down staircase here, and then a right side up one right there. So you should be looking at something that looks exactly like this. And when you do, you are actually ready to mirror all this to the other side once you put a piston right here. So once you, of course, have mirrored this to the other side, we are ready to move forward, and I'll go ahead and mirror that for you. And once that's all mirrored up, you can actually come down here, and that last piston that I told you to place, you can actually get rid of that. And once you have this overall look, you are ready to move forward. Alright, so moving forward, what we're going to go ahead and do is locate this piston here. We're going to come off of it with the slime block. Then we want one slime block to the inside and one above it. Next up, we want a regular block here and then a redstone block, just like so. Then we can actually come back out to this side and add in 3 regular blocks, so it looks exactly like this. Then we can drop down this direction, add a regular block here, then a piston just like so. Next up, coming out of this piston, we want to just go ahead and place a slime block just like this, and then a slime block on the bottom, and then another slime block like so. So you have this 3 pattern. Next up, you can place a regular block here underneath that piston, and then you can place a regular block here, and then one right there. Now, to make sure this piece comes along, we want a slime block here and a redstone block just like so. With those redstone blocks in hand, we're going to go ahead and just place another one just right here. Then we're going to go ahead and mosey around this way so we can place a sticky piston dropped back, extended this direction. Slime block here, slime block there, and then we can actually go ahead and drop underneath that slime block and place another one. So you should be looking at something that looks exactly like this when we go ahead and grab our glass. You can go ahead and place 3 pieces of glass right here. Then you can go ahead and grab a piston and place it just right there. Next up, that piston will of course be pushing this sticky piston. So you want 2 slime blocks like so and a redstone block just right here. Then you want a piston on the front just like this. Now you can go ahead and grab your regular blocks and place 2 right here underneath this redstone block, and then you can actually go ahead and place 3 right here with a 4th one in front meeting up with this redstone block again, and then of course a regular block right there. So now as soon as you have all of this piece here done, you can actually go ahead and mirror it to the other side, and I'll go ahead and do that for you real fast. And now you should be looking at something that looks exactly like this, but very, very important. As you can see, we have a trigger here, but there's no trigger here. What we're going to go ahead and do is remove this piece of glass and then this block. Now, that is very, very important, or else the machine will not work the way in which we wish it to. So, with that being known, what we're going to go ahead and do is move forward and go ahead and locate this piston. We're going to come off of it with a slime block, and then we're going to come in with a slime block, and then out with one. Then we're going to come off of that end slime block here with 2 more, so you should be looking at this overall shape when we add in that slime block. Then we can actually go ahead and add a redstone block here, which will update that piston down there. Next up, we can actually go ahead and grab our pistons. We're going to drop to the bottom of this slime block here, add a piston there, a piston here, and then a piston right on top of this piece here. Next up, what we're going to go ahead and do is add a block of choice here, and then another block of choice right there. So you should be looking at this overall kind of very odd shape here. Next up, what we're going to go ahead and do is come off of this piston with a slime block, just like so, one to the inside, and then a redstone block, just like this. Next up, we're going to go ahead and drop to the bottom of this slime block with our regular blocks and add in 1, 2, 3, 4 regular blocks, and then coming off of this slime block, 1, 2, 3. Next up, we want a piston coming straight forward off of this regular block, just like so. So you should be looking at this. Next up, we're going to go ahead and come forward off of that piston with a slime block, and then another slime block to the side, redstone block right here. Next up, we can go ahead and drop to the bottom of this one and add in 1, 2, 3 regular blocks this time, and then 1, 2 regular blocks to the top, so you can throw down a piston right here. And again, that is 2 blocks on the top on this one, and that is 3 blocks on the top on this one. Now, as soon as you have this, you can actually go ahead and mirror it to the other side. And now you should be looking at something that looks exactly like this. Now we're going to go ahead and come back over to this piston here, and we're actually going to come off of it with a slime block like so. One slime block up, and then one slime block back. Then you can actually go ahead and just place a regular block of choice right there. Next up, we're actually going to go ahead and place a slime block here with a redstone block right here. So now we can actually place a piston right here, and then we can switch over to our block of choice and place one right here, and then we want 2 more on the front just like that. So you should be looking at this kind of crazy piece overall so far. Next up, we're going to actually go ahead and come off of this piston with a regular block up here. Then we're going to go ahead and grab our slime blocks and place in 3 just around that block just like so. Then we want a redstone block right here. And as soon as we have that, we can actually go ahead and place a block of choice on top of that piston, which will get pushed across by this top segment. Next up, what we're going to go ahead and do is come off of this piston here with another block of choice. Then we want a redstone block on top of it, then 2 slime blocks behind it. So you should be looking at something that looks exactly like this. Next up, what we're going to go ahead and do is grab our regular blocks of choice, and we're going to come off of this bottom slime block with 1, 2, 3 regular blocks. Then we're going to put 2 more in front of it just like so. So now as soon as you have this, you can actually go ahead and mirror it to the other side, and we are ready to move forward.